let's begin to work with percents and show you some of the basics with them. So we've already discussed that the word percent means per 100. Now, there are a couple different ways in which we can solve percent situations. One way to solve percent situations is through a proportion. The other way is to solve them with equations. So let's take a look at how we can solve them both ways. So first of all, any percent problem is going to have a percent, and we're going to put that percent over 100 because that's what percent means. Now, if we set up a proportion to solve a percent problem, we're going to say the percent over 100 is equal to the part over the whole. Now, as far as percents go, the best score you can get on a test is 100%. The most effort you can give on something is 100%. That's the whole. So percent over 100 is equal to the part over the whole. So the whole goes across from 100 and the percent goes across from the part. Now, we also can solve percent problems as an equation. So we could take the percent and we can multiply by the whole, and that's going to give us the part that we're looking for. Now, I've referenced part and whole a couple times here, and there's a few words that help us identify what the part is and what the whole is. So when we see the word part in the proportion and the equation, we're looking for the word is in the writing of our situation we're dealing with. And the whole is usually associated with the word of. Now, let's take a look at this in a few different situations here. So, jot all of this down. 25% of 40 is what number? Okay. So let's do this by the proportion method first. Okay. So we have the percent, 25. Now it also says of 40. Well, this is the whole because it's of 40. It's out of 40. And is what number? Well, we don't know. So that's the part. Now let's plug everything into this proportion and then let's solve it. So 25 goes above 100. And that's going to be equal to the part, which is unknown. So we'll call that x, and the whole, which is 40. Okay, to solve, I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 25 and the 40 together. So 25 times 40 is 10,000, or actually it's just 1,000. And then I'm going to multiply 100 times x, that's 100x. And then I'll divide both sides by 100, so x turns out to be 10. 25% of 40 is what number? 10. Now we have to evaluate our results. Well, if you think back, 25% is 1/4 of 40. So if we were to take 40, we'll draw up a quick picture of this. If we were to take 40 and split it up into 4 equal parts, how much would be in each part? Well, if 10 was in each part, then that's 25%, that's 25%, that's 25%, and that's 25%. And 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25 is 100%. And 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 40. So it definitely works. It is 10. Now, how can we do this by the equation? Well, here we would take 25% and multiply it by 40 to get the part. The issue here is we have to change 25% to a decimal. So we're going to move the decimal point twice to the left, and that'll give us 0.25 times 40, which is x. And doing so also gives us 10. Second scenario. 10% of what number is 6? Okay. So remember what we want again. We want the percent over 100 is equal to the part over the whole. So what do we know? Well, here's our percent. It says of what number. So that's x, and that's the whole. And is 6 is the part. So this is the whole. And we've got the part on the end. So let's plug things in as a proportion. So we would do 10 over 100. And the part is 6, and the whole is x. Now, cross-multiplying again, we have 100 times 6. That's 600. And 10 times x, which is 10x. Now, if we divide both sides by 10, 600 divided by 10 is 60. Now, does that make sense? 10% of 60 is 6. Well, 10% is a tenth of something. So that means I would need 6 10 times to get to 60. And that does make sense. Now, as an equation, again, we have to take the percent times the whole to get the part. So in this case, it would be 10% times x is equal to 6. Now, I have to convert 10% to a decimal, so I'll do that. That'd be 0.1 or 0.10 times x is equal to 6. Now, dividing by that 0.1 is going to give us 60 for an answer also. But I'm having to deal with decimals in the equation way. All right. What percent is 30 of 60? Proportion method. We don't know the percent. This is 30 is our part, and of 60 is the whole. So, since I don't know the percent, I'm going to call that x, so I'll have x over 100 is equal to the part 30 over 60, which is the whole. Now, you might look at this and go, I already know what the answer is. It's half of it. It's 50%. Well, then our work should verify that. So x times 60 is 60x. And 30 times 100 is 3,000. And then we have to divide by 60. So x is equal to 50. Now, we have to remember that x is a percent then. We don't have to change it, but we do have to say that, hey, x is indeed 50%. Because we would put the 50 where the x goes, so 50 out of 100 represents 50%. As an equation, this would be x times 60 is equal to 30. Now dividing by 60, and notice I wrote x times 60. It's really 60x, but that gives us x is equal to 30 over 60, which is 0.5. And here we would have to convert that over to a percent, which is 50%. So those are three situations that we can address when we're dealing with percent type issues. Soon we're going to be applying percents to situations that involve money. And there we're going to be using a calculator from time to time and having to round things to the nearest cent as well. So it's important that you understand how to set up percent problems, and also it's important to understand that you need to double check the results to see if they're sensible. It is possible to have percents over 100. And so the last thing I want to share with you is I want to take the last problem that we looked at and do this. What percent is 60 of 30? Well, we'll do this the proportion way. This is the percent. I don't know. This is my part. And this is the whole. So I would do x over 100 is equal to 60 over 30. You'll notice 60 is double 30. So we're looking for what relationship is 60 of 30. Well, it's double. Well, 100% of 30 would be 30. But what percent is 60 of 30? Well, if you go through the math for this, we end up with 30x, and 60 times 100 is 6,000. Now, dividing here, we get an answer of 200, or 200%. And that means that 200% means it's double what the original value was. And that can happen when you're dealing with money and prices and things of that nature. So that's a look at percents. You can look at them from a standpoint of solving them, using your logic, using fractions, using decimals, drawing pictures, all kinds of things, but also you can solve them using proportions and equations as well. We'll see you next time for more.